Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you guys had some good lunch, and I hope you also, segueing into this, had a very nice gelato, because we have the co-founder of Gelato, also sponsors of the gelato outside, to talk to you about smart accounts and AI and how dApps can integrate AI. That's Louis Schliesske. Give it up, and over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody today. By the way, how long do I have? Roughly half an hour? Okay, cool. So thanks a lot for coming to this workshop. If some of you watched my talk earlier, I was announcing a massive new service product that we're launching this year, Gelato Rollup as a service. The workshop is not going to be about that at all. It's our existing Web3 function service that we launched last year, and I'm going to show you how to use Gelato serverless, Gelato Web3 functions, to essentially connect your smart contracts with any off-chain resource really, but in this workshop example, I'm going to show you how to connect a smart contract with ChatGPT. Shamelessly gonna admit that I've done this workshop once before in Amsterdam for ETH. If you were there, you might see a lot of repetition here. There's only so many hours in a day, right? So. But yeah, hopefully I can, if you were at Amsterdam, I will bring a new workshop next time, I promise. Anyways, this is still awesome. It's still using Lens. If you guys use Lens, anybody using Lens here? Anybody has an account? Cool, some people, nice. And yeah, I did just try to demo it before. It has a live demo. Unfortunately, I realized that the Mumbai version of this doesn't work anymore. We have the mainnet version on Polygon Live, but the problem is on mainnet I've already used my Lens NFT, so I can't create a fresh account to show this. So still I included screenshots and I will show you what it looked like a couple of months ago when this was live. So yeah, let's dive into Gelato, serverless Web3 functions workshop, and yeah. Okay, so we're back after some technical issues. Yeah, so let's first, I'm trying to find a good spot to address the crowd and see the slides. Okay, yeah. Let's first talk about Gelato itself. Gelato is the decentralized Web3 stack, backend stack for Web3, obviously. And essentially, you can think of Gelato as this middleware services. We have smart contract automation. We have relaying, like account abstraction, gasless transactions. And we have Web3 functions that allow you to talk to any Web2 off-chain resource and take data from it and move it on-chain. And yeah, so front ends don't just connect to smart contracts anymore. There's also this whole backend stack that Gelato operates in a decentralized network that you can now use for your decentralized application to make use of servers, all of these nice like automated things and APIs and whatnot. So how does Gelato work? Well, we have Gelato validators, and they are running these services, your smart contract automation, your relaying of gasless transactions, Web3 functions, all off-chain, and then you can define the logic. So you can say, hey, please generate this data, please check this condition, and do something on-chain with that data. And if your logic checks out, Gelato will go and execute that for you. It will enter the on-chain world via a single entry point, the Gelato protocol, and then it will call your target contract with whatever payload. Like, so for example, Beefy Finance, Yearn and so on, they're using our Web3 functions to essentially collect, to compound yield, to collect yield every day. So they're talking to 1inch off-chain to get some payload. Then they take all of their interest earned and sort of swap it in 1inch once a day automatically, for example, for yield harvesting. So today in this workshop, I'm going to show you a no-code solution to prompt ChatGPT to post to your Lens account. And yeah, it will be using serverless Web3 functions, using ChatGPT and the Lens SDK. And again, this workshop is about 2-3 months old, so some of it might not work anymore, but let's give it our best try. So on Lenser testnet, if you wanted to, you could try this out today yourself. Although not on testnet, it does work on mainnet. So you can try if you want to replicate what we do here, if you have a Lens account on Polygon. Yeah, you just need your account, and then you essentially go to this nice web UI. I don't have the URL right now, but I can show you later. And you just log in with the EOA that has your Lens NFT. And then the first thing you have to do is you set the Lens dispatcher to Gelato Web3 functions. and then you can already go and just give it a prompt. So like you would give ChatGPT a prompt, right? So for example, here I said, give me a bit of computer science wisdom. You set the prompt, and then, yeah, we will see later what happens. Or maybe I will quickly show you now, actually. So, for example, here is my Lens account on mainnet, actually, and this is, as you can see, I had it running until June. But yeah, for a month or so, this one was using a different prompt. I was saying, give me some fun facts about the United States. And here, Web3 functions with ChatGPT used my prompt and posted to my Lens account. So this was not me, this was like fully automated with Gelato. It gave me some fun facts about the US states. So in Oklahoma, it is illegal to take a bite out of another person's hamburger, apparently, according to ChatGPT. In Connecticut, it is illegal to walk backwards after sunset, okay. In Wyoming, it's illegal to take a picture of a rabbit from January to April without an official permit. All right, okay. So you see here, basically, all this time, in Ohio, it's illegal to get a fish drunk. Like all this time, ChatGPT generated text for my Lens account, and Web3 functions streamed it to my Lens account. And by the way, here is the UI. You can log in. It's this was for dApp. I think we have a new one as well. Anyways, you can log into this UI later on, and everybody gets one free prompt. It used to be infinite, but we spent too much money on it. So for now, if you log in with your Lens account here, take my word for it. I think you can copy this URL, ethdam-gelato.web.app. Log in with your Lens account, set the dispatcher, set your prompt, and you will see that after some minutes, it will post the first ChatGPT generated content to your Lens account. Back to the workshop. Okay, so what are Gelato Web3 functions? Essentially, they allow you to connect smart contracts to off-chain data. They ensure the data is accurate. They run off-chain computations, execute transactions on all networks. So you get this serverless environment where you can just write some TypeScript and talk to any API and use Gelato's amazing transaction sending capabilities to just dispatch payloads to all sort of networks. Super nice developer experience. Send notifications and index and store data. So really, you just take your smart contracts, you write a bunch of TypeScript, you deploy it to Gelato Web3 functions, and it runs there for you. And it's super easy to talk to APIs and blockchains, and you don't have to worry about all these issues anymore. And it's sort of 24/7 running for you, and you can build all sorts of automations and whatnot with it. So off-chain, you write your Web3 function, you deploy it to IPFS. Gelato nodes pick it up from there. They run the code for you all the time. They let you connect to any resource on the internet, and then you can execute stuff on chain. Again, one example being talk to ChatGPT and send generated AI data from it to my Lens account on chain. So some use cases are, dynamic NFTs is another cool one. I showed this one in Dubai some months ago, where you can have your users mint an NFT. They can set a prompt for how the NFT should look like, and then after the NFT is minted as an empty shell, your Web3 function can go there, generate some image with, I don't know, stable diffusion or whatever, and post that image to your NFT. You can use DEX aggregators for automated token swaps. A lot of trading is moving off-chain. Like nowadays, you usually use an API like 1inch or something to get the best trade. So this allows you to do that now as well. Before, with our original Gelato Automate solution that we pioneered 4 years ago, you were only restricted to on-chain stuff, not anymore. You can use bridge aggregators like LeFi. You can resolve prediction markets, betting markets on sports. You can let AI post messages to Lens. You can use multi-chain things. Yeah, the world is yours, I guess. So we have TypeScript support for this. We have an amazing RPC provider abstraction, so you don't have to worry anymore about getting your own alchemy keys and whatnot. Like all of this is abstracted away for you. You can use your own secrets and environment variables. Yeah, and it's a flexible pay-per usage pricing, super highly scalable. You can literally send thousands of transactions per minute with this stuff without worrying about nonce management, transaction lifecycle management, all of that. Yeah, and you can even do crazy things like have a smart contract trigger your off-chain logic. So you can have the smart contract emit an event, and that then creates a chain reaction where off-chain you process some logic, hook back into the smart contract, and you can have these sort of infinite loops between on and off-chain. So yeah, let's dive into some code. I expect most people here are somewhat technical. So yeah, how does this actually look like? So Web3 functions usually consist of a smart contract element and an off-chain TypeScript element. Although technically you can also remain completely off-chain. Like you can also just index events with this. Like you don't have to send anything on-chain if you don't want to. But yeah, here for this example that I just showed you, with this UI where you can set your prompt to generate, a post for Lens. This is the smart contract. It's super easy. Like we essentially just say only the profile owner here can use the smart contract to store their prompt that they want Gelato Lens GPT to use for their profile. And we verify here that only the profile owner can actually store the prompt so that someone cannot just spam your profile. And that's already the smart contract. Super simple, right? Like Lens is the cool thing about smart contracts is they're composable, and that's all you need to talk to Lens on chain and so on. That's it. So here we store your prompt on chain. That's what the UI essentially does for you. And that's the Web3 function TypeScript backend already. And as you can see, all we do here is we instantiate an OpenAI API. We take the content here that we stored as a prompt, and we get the text that ChatGPT generated for us. Then we instantiate a Lens client. We use the Lens SDK for this. We validate some stuff, and we actually store the post. We generate the content URI for your post to store it on IPFS. Here, uploading the metadata to IPFS is also important for Lens to work, of course. So at this point, your ChatGPT freshly generated post now lives on IPFS and can be indexed by Lens. Yeah, and now we say we want to post this data. We say the profile ID. We say give the content URI, and essentially here we are now at the end just calling the post function on Lens. And all of this is happening in the serverless runtime of Gelato Web3 functions. You can think of this as almost like AWS Lambda or Google Cloud Run or whatnot. So you just write your normal TypeScript. Even better, you can use some of the Gelato tooling like RPCs and so on. You don't have to, nowhere do you have to await a transaction or something, right? Like it's all abstracted for you. You just write what smart contracts you want to talk to, what APIs you want to talk to, you generate the payloads, you send it on chain. That's it. Yeah. That's just saying, hey, I want to send it now. Maybe you can have some time intervals, like I want to post once a day, I want to post every minute, all of that. And yeah, that was it. I would encourage all of you to come build on Gelato. This workshop was about Web3 functions, and we also have other things like gasless account abstraction and so on. We're actually working very closely with the Safe team. If you have used the AA SDK from the Safe team, and the relay kit in there, that's all Gelato in there. So yeah, if I'm Git Pusher, you can find me on Telegram. You can find Gelato Network on Twitter, Discord, everything. If you want to build something, if you want to try something out, we have a lot of developer advocates that would be more than happy to help you get started. And yeah, I would want to, normally I would post a prompt for this workshop so that you could see how in real time ChatGPT now generates something, but unfortunately my hands are tied because I've already used up my Lens account and Mumbai doesn't work at the moment for us. But yeah, maybe next time. Cool. All right. Anybody got any questions?
Who's using it? Have you seen it in the wild, and what's that look like?
You don't talk about users in crypto. No. I mean, to be fair, this was more of an experiment, like a showcase. It was used quite a bit. I can maybe look on Lens. So we shut it off. So, by the way, maybe what I didn't tell you in here is that in the real demo, when you actually set your prompt and so on, all of this was done using Gelato gasless. So when you send the on-chain transaction to store your prompt on the UI, like you would just have to sign a message and so on. And even the prompting, like even this posting itself, was all sponsored by Gelato using essentially account abstraction. So you can use Gelato One Balance if you want to build something like this. Like let's talk about some more use cases here, like Lens, whatever new social media is coming online. You might want to have a cool company account like Spectator Index or something, where every day you want to post some historical facts, some statistics or whatnot. So this sort of technology would make it possible for you to do that. And in this case, it was cool because real users were able to contribute, right? Like real users were able to set their own prompts, generate data, and it would be sent on chain. All of this was paid for by Gelato in this sense, and that was made possible via Gelato One Balance, where we can simply deposit USDC into Gelato One Balance on Polygon, and now we can send transactions everywhere, like not even just Polygon, every chain, and just settle against that single balance. So that wasn't really shown in the workshop, but that's some magic in itself. Like if you want your users to participate in something, you don't want them to worry about gas cost, about having crypto to pay for stuff. Yeah, very nice technically in the demo as well. I mean, I can show this actually quickly, but I'm not trying to avoid your question here. Users, who was using this? A bunch of people were using this. Let's have a look at LensGPT hashtag here. I mean, great. Let's connect first. 1 second. Long way to go for Crypto UX. Here you go. Oh, it's still being used. Wow, okay, we can actually have some real, like 33 minutes ago. Some guy called Smith, I have no idea who this is. Good job opportunities can be found by researching online job boards. Great. Typical ChatGPT content, sucks. But yeah. All these guys are still using it. I had no idea, to be honest. Have a wonderful day. May it be filled with adventure and joy, right? Like these guys are just, like ChatGPT is, I love my mom because she always makes me feel loved. I don't know what these guys are prompting. It's a bit weird, to be honest. But yeah, I guess if you go on this account, everybody gets only one post now at these days. It used to be infinite, but we don't want to pay for all that stuff. So yeah, it's one post per person, per account, I should say. But yeah, it's still being used. You can go to the UI, and actually that gasless thing I was talking about, I want to show you how that's done. So I can go here to Mumbai first of all. Let's go Mumbai. And then I will go to SafeCon workshop. And I will log in. Okay, so first, like I said, you have to set the dispatcher for Lens. And for this, we actually have to send a transaction out. That doesn't work because I don't have any Mumbai on there. Yeah. Whatever, I'll show it another time. But anyways, on here, just go through this experience yourself. If you want to try it out, you get one post on Polygon mainnet. And you will see that essentially I think maybe to set the prompt, we haven't integrated the front end with our account abstraction kit. But so maybe there you have to send a transaction, not so sure. But then later on, when the prompt happens to your profile, you don't pay for that. Like that's done by Gelato under the hood. But yeah, that's that. Any more questions? Question over here. Where's the second mic? Oh yeah, I can also. Thanks.
You mentioned dynamic NFTs. Can you explain how that works with Web3 functions?
Yes, so I actually did a workshop on that in Dubai. It's still on YouTube if you want to have a look at that. Essentially, I mean, Web3 functions is just a serverless environment that Gelato built, which, you know, it's just like any other serverless environment out there, like AWS Lambda and so on. It's just much more tuned toward the Web3 developer experience. And of course can also do a lot less than AWS Lambda can, but it's much easier to work with. Like we have people telling us that they moved their stuff from AWS Lambda to Web3 functions simply because it felt nicer for them. But to your question there, it's you can just talk to any API, right? So and you can talk to any smart contract from there, and you just have to write a bunch of TypeScript. That's pretty much it. You can even just deposit some USDC into One Balance, Gelato One Balance, and that money will be used to pay for all transactions for your application. You don't have to worry about keeping funds on many chains, none of that, right? So essentially with the dynamic NFTs, what we did is we created an NFT contract that would mint your NFT, and you know, in an NFT you reference an image, and then this image reference would later be set to the dynamically generated NFT. So when you mint the NFT, you set the seed prompt for how that image should look like. Your Gelato Web3 function indexes these mint events. It sees, okay, here I need to create a new image. It takes your inputs. It goes to DALL-E, I think it was from OpenAI, or you can use another image model. It generates the image, downloads it for you, and then uploads it to IPFS, and in your NFT now sets to your content URI. And then after a couple of minutes, it was a cool workshop as well, actually, like a live demo. You will see that suddenly, where before your NFT had nothing, suddenly there would be an AI-generated image that would contain some elements pertaining to whatever your prompt included. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll find it on YouTube. Thanks.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks for presentation. Question about secrets management. How you are able to do it? Is there any dedicated HSM or
Sorry?
secrets management? Like
Seed phrase management, okay.
Yeah.
It's completely non-custodial, what I showed. So we don't ever store any seed phrases. It's all, essentially the answer is using smart contracts and account abstraction.
I know for application. So you have an environment variable for application. And normally you have .env file, which during deployment you have to instantiate.
Yeah.
So when you deploy this application, how much, let's say if you have CI/CD pipeline, so is it to be stored on GitHub or how do you manage it?
So we allow you to store secrets in Web3 functions.
Okay.
Now, technically, you could store a private key there, although I right now wouldn't recommend it yet because this stuff is still in beta. We actually have a massive bug bounty that we're launching in September. So like normally our users, they store maybe API keys to an RPC provider on there, right? Or API keys for CoinGecko or whatnot. Stuff where if it was leaked, it's not the end of the world. If your private key is business critical and so on, right now I don't think we have enough Lindy to recommend storing it on our hosted environment. Because in general you shouldn't, like maybe with HashiCorp or something, like, or HSM like you mentioned, yes, but we don't support HSM yet, so overall it's super secure and so on, but yeah, private keys are dangerous, so usually we find a way around the need of a private key by using smart contracts and some of our account abstraction APIs and so on. If you really need a private key, talk to me about the use case and maybe we can find a solution, yeah. Cool. No more questions? I think we're done, yeah. There's a question there. Yeah.
So how does like a transaction get started? Like usually you have to have an EOA, right, that starts the whole chain. How does it happen in Gelato network?
Yeah, I mean that goes back to our original invention of smart contract automation from 4 years ago. I was sitting here in full node building that protocol. Again, smart contracts. Back then it was called meta transactions. Now we call it, I guess, like account abstraction and so on. I'm not talking about the ERC-437 kind, just in general, using smart contracts to represent your account on chain and then having a relayer, a third party that you don't have to trust, send, like, be an agent for you on chain, right? So that's essentially it. The smart contract protocol that Gelato is comprised of as well, like Web3 functions, has a smart contract component that can store data about your task. You can even encode some requirements into the execution of something in your protocol on chain. Like, for example, limit orders, right? Gelato has been used for limit orders by PancakeSwap, QuickSwap, SpookySwap, all these guys. And essentially what they did on chain, or what we provided to them with on chain, is an intent, right? Like saying, yes, your user can put your money into this protocol. Yes, Gelato can execute trades with the user's money, but Gelato cannot do anything other than what the user wants, which is getting a minimum out, right? So that's enforced by a smart contract. So essentially, you just have to think about what on-chain requirements can you encode into your flow, and Gelato has to abide by them. Then Gelato is just a network of node operators that are sending transactions on your behalf and many other people's behalves, and they abide by the smart contracts rule that you impose upon them. The less you encode on-chain, the less rules you enforce on-chain, the more you trust them, of course. That's still not the end of the world, because these node operators, as now, are known entities. They have Gelato stake. We police them and so on, right? So I think you can trust them a fair bit, but still, you know, better to be trustless at the end of the day.
So essentially there's like a pool of EOAs that act on behalf of Gelato network
Yes.
to initiate that, and there's some incentive mechanism.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm sure there must be over, I don't know, 200 or so bots in the Gelato network sending transactions everywhere. And the smart contracts are there to negotiate on your behalf on chain to make sure the bot doesn't do something that you don't want to, right?
Pretty clever.
That's the original idea. Yeah. We're now doing more stuff than that, but yeah. Soon you can also launch your own chain with Gelato. I announced that today. Cool. All right. Bang on time. Nice. Thank you, everybody.